Hi, this is Travis from 10 Farms, and I'm out here messing around with the mower today. I did that video the other day where I showed that it was running again, but I wasn't able to actually mow with it because the alternator was not charging the battery. So what I wanted to show you today is what I discovered the problem was. So on a vehicle with an alternator, most alternators are not a permanent magnet. They're more like an electromagnet. Here's the alternator on this mower here. And what that means is that the magnet actually requires electricity from the battery in order to create the magnetic field, which creates the electrical current when the alternator is turning to charge the battery. So I discovered that I wasn't getting power from the battery to the exciter wire on the alternator. So even though the alternator was turning and the battery was connected and everything was hooked up, it wasn't actually charging. So I was getting just about the 12 volts or even a little bit below 12 volts that was coming from the battery itself, but nothing coming out of the alternator. It should be, 13 and a half, maybe even 14 volts coming out of the alternator to keep that battery charged. So what the problem was, after I did some checking with the wiring, was a bad diode. And you can see down here, this is the new diode that I'm putting in. I haven't connected the wires yet. But a diode is an electrical device that allows current to only flow one direction. So it flows from the positive to the negative direction, and then that current can come from the battery to the alternator, but can't feed back the other way. And this is a keyed switch here. So when you turn the ignition key on, power goes from the battery to the alternator, but can't flow back the other way. So then when you start the mower, it's already got that excitement in the electromagnet, and the alternator will charge the battery. So I'm going to put this back together here today and start it up, and then we'll do a test and see if we're actually getting charging from the alternator now. All right, so as you can see here, I have the diode connected now in the line to the alternator. The side with the gray stripe here is the negative side, which goes to the load, which is the alternator in this case. The side without the stripe is the positive, going back to the battery. And right now, without it running, I'm going to show you that I've got not quite 12 volts, but a little over 11 here coming from the battery. And then once I start it, the current should flow to the alternator, and we should show that it's charging. So we should have 13 and a half or so. So let's see what we get here. All right, we got it running, and you can see that I'm getting a little over 14 volts here on the battery gauge. So the alternator is working now. That diode worked to get it excite the alternator so it can charge. I'm going to go over here to the other side and actually hook the multimeter up and show you what that looks like too, just to kind of make sure the gauge is accurate. So this is really awkward to hold and really loud right here, but you can see I've got 14.2 volts now. So we have a success. Thank you for watching.